Good afternoon. I will try to speak briefly because you have had so many interventions, and I also try not to speak so loudly to turn your attention. I try to be also very concrete. It's not the first time that we came to the Confederation. I'd like very much to thank for these invitations, because we as a group of employers of the European Economic and Social Committee are very engaged in what is happening also in Greece. We happened to be here several times, and we agreed last time in December that we will try to look together in a very particular issue of financing of SMEs in Greece. But before I go into that, I'd like, for those of you who are not familiar with what we do, just to explain that European Economic Social Committee is the oldest European institution that basically represents employers, employees, and non-governmental organizations. And we are the institution that is supposed to give advice on all the important dossiers that are being worked through European institutions. Whether it is European Parliament, European Commission, European Council, they all are coming to us to get our advice on those important issues that they believe that the voice of the civil society is of importance. So we are working roughly around 200 opinions a year, and that is a broad variety of issues from social to economic, foreign trade, foreign relations, also energy, information society, all different range of issues that we are actively involved. Employers Group is 117 members coming from all over the European Union and representing all major business organizations, whether employers, industrial, chamber of commerces, handcrafts, or even farmers. And we are now in the process of discussing what is our agenda before the European election. And I have to say that this process is not very easy because, as you all know, there is more and more of Euroscepticism around us and less of good, solid debate about the future of the Union. And I myself, coming from Poland, from the country that has emerged from not being independent only 25 years ago, I think we have a very strong voice as far as the future of the Union is concerned, because we still can see the benefits, clear benefits of working together, and we can clearly see how much working together can contribute to the benefit and to the strong future of all the member states. I have been listening carefully to some of your interventions before, and I would say this: irrespectively of what you are going to tell after what I'm saying right now, this is true that this is not Troika that created unemployment in Greece. It's not EU that has made Greece so heavily indebted. I come from the country, and I was second Solidarity government member when we had huge economic problems, and we had no support of anybody except ourselves. I think it's important to realize that the only sustainable solution is to take the crisis as an opportunity and go forward, look for the solutions, introduce reforms, and be consistent and work hard. There is nobody else but Greece, there is nobody else but Greek entrepreneurs and business people who can build a prosperity of this society. This is not the government that creates jobs. That's a false assumption. It's a business that creates jobs. So don't trust the government that tells you we will create jobs. No, government only creates conditions if thinks carefully and wisely. If not, then only provide a mess and lack of commitment. And that happens, unfortunately, in too many places, in too many countries. And I think it's a good time and it's a good moment in your transformation to make this thinking very serious. It's not the business that led Greece to the crisis. It's not the entrepreneurs who led Greece to crisis. I think it is also well known that it's also in many other member states, it's a political situation, it's a political constituency that has led countries to crisis. And I think now they are trying to blame us. They are trying to put responsibility on us. We know our responsibility. We know what it takes to make a business. We know what it takes to hire somebody. We know what conditions are to be fulfilled if we are to create a job that is sustainable. It's not to please anybody. It's not to fill any gap or loophole, or it's not to be a beneficiary of some tax incentive. Jobs have to be created to last, and these jobs can be created only by the business. I think that without being too general, I would like to give you some indications. We have done a very quick and rapid discussion among the top business leaders of the European Union. Some presidents of CEP, Eurochambre, some large national organizations. And when we asked them what is necessary for further recovery, they all pointed out that different arguments concerning EU level are the most important for them. They all have seen and they all see the benefits of working together, and they all see the threats of going separate ways. And I think if somebody says here, I'm against globalization, it's not very wise, because your economy depends on foreign clients, customer, friends. And I think the last thing you want to achieve is to discourage them from coming here. That's at least what I think, and share honestly, like businessmen to business people. So coming to this opinion poll that we did, there are 3-4 major themes that came across clearly. We need to improve competitiveness of Europe. And I know that people get sick and tired of these European big slogans, but this is true. If we don't improve competitiveness of Europe, I think we can see that on different levels, whether services or products or industry, which is leaving Europe, which we lose competition with some low-cost, very unfair competing countries. We have to get our act together. And for that, another element, single European market is absolutely necessary. We decided to create single European market, and we didn't implement single European market. So we started, we stopped, and I think everybody is now contesting the consequences of lack of implementation. So it's not single European market that created the problem. It's actually lack of it, lack of full implementation that creates a lot of problems. I think it's fair to say also that we need to complete the reform of the European Union as far as the monetary policy is concerned. And I think Greece is one of those places where we can say that, yes, we need it, it has to be implemented, that there are good reasons for this. Now, one of the speakers before me said there are 3 issues that we need to deal with here in Greece. I noted them. That's liquidity, that's unemployment, and that is taxation. When you look at these issues, liquidity, I think we tried to look into that together today in the morning here with the colleagues from Hellenic Confederation. And I have to tell you, my impression from today's meeting was that there is a huge gap between the financial sector, people from the banking sector, and the end users, being SMEs from various branches of the economy. And it really has to be a major effort to close this gap. And if you are to take advantage of the European funds that are allocated for Greece and funds which are mainly for the SMEs, you have to start to act together. And I think financial and non-banking institutions have to be made clear that without the SMEs being financed, there will be no recovery. And through them, or through government, to put relevant measures. And also, I think this is our role, and I have talked to President Korkidis. Thank you very much again for invitation to your event. We will continue You will come to us, hopefully we come back here, because it is an absurd situation that the money which is being allocated for Greek SMEs are not being spent. And there is no a single reason on the earth why it should be continued. So I think if you want us to convey this message back in Brussels, I think we are more than happy to do it. And to address not by the video, but face-to-face, people who are responsible for that, and make sure that they get your message. When it comes to unemployment, I think that it's difficult to advise, but I will not change my opinion. It's not the government that will create jobs. And you have to make sure that the government understands that. It is your firms, your companies, some medium-sized companies, that's their role to fix the problem. Youth unemployment is a particular issue, but youth unemployment is something that also should be dealt on the level of the business sector. You don't need to recreate something new artificial to deal with the unemployment, especially youth unemployment. You need to act together. You need to have a right structure of education. You have to need the right link between education and labor market, and you need to have incentives for the enterprises to hire people. You don't want to have government creating jobs that will disappear in 6-12 months. I think that is the way to nowhere. For taxation, I think that taxation is, of course, a national competence, so I will not go deeply into that. But it is a matter of the political debate in the country. And I think that if government is not listening to arguments of its business community, then it's a problem. It will emerge, it's only a question of time. And there are many countries where, after difficulties, active fiscal policy of the member state government recreated momentum for the business to start to grow. And I think certain conditions in Greece are arriving to make some of those steps. Why not? I think Brussels would not mind opening that dialogue, provided somebody will provide a consistent, coherent plan with all the consequences analyzed and all the issues being put under the consideration. Now, we feel here very good. As an employers group, and I have many colleagues sitting here and there from all the member states, we've made an effort with a great pleasure to come to another event. And I think for us it was very important to come to you and talk to you and have a better understanding. What are your problems? Not for these problems just to be listened to, but to take them with us and make sure that when we meet all the decision makers in Brussels, we can convey your messages. And that's what we're going to do this time as well. Our morning seminar will be carefully scrutinized, and we will put a policy paper based on this. We will have a follow-up activity together with Confederation. But I think overall the important thing is to say that I'm very, very happy that today I was with you a year ago, and I heard a lot of interventions that have been almost hostile towards the European Union. Almost. Today, I think this is a different discussion, different debate, and I think it's rightly so. We can really do much more together. There is so much to benefit from. Obviously, Greece is a very international marketplace, can benefit even more than the others. So I wish you to continue this, and we as an employers group of the European Economic and Social Committee, being the only legally existing place for the employers to express your views in the European legislation process, we want to get them with us and deal back in Brussels. And now, as a businessman from Poland, I can tell you this. I can fully understand the difficulties you've gone through, because we've gone through similar ones some time ago. I fully appreciate the commitment you've made. I think you deserve a lot of respect for what you have achieved, but don't give up. I think you are very close to getting out of that, and I think you have to keep your commitment, keep your momentum, because then life will be very, very different, and I really wish you that from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much indeed.